Should you rent, lease, finance, or buy outright in cash your Golf R? That's what I'm going to talk about today. Let's get straight into this. So yes, welcome back to another video. My name is Sam. Join me once again in my Mark 7 Golf R. I tend to chat a little bit around this topic. Massive car enthusiast. Trying to build up a bit of a community channel, and that's what it's all about really. But I've spoken to a lot of you guys around the Golf R, around the Mark 8 Golf R, around the Mark 7 Golf R, and one of the topics we don't really bring up is, what option should you go for when you're actually buying it? Now, I'm not going to go into explicit detail in terms of like getting a loan from a supermarket or anything like that, or trying to get the rates on that side. How you pay for your car is fundamentally up to you. I'm just going to talk around the 4 options that I've mentioned, which is best, the pros and cons between each of them, to hopefully help you out. And if you enjoy this type of video, please like, share, subscribe. It really does help build a community channel. Check back on previous videos. I'm sure they'll be able to help you out too. So let's start with the least common one, I suppose, renting. Now, for all of these 4 options, I don't think anyone should dismiss any of them. I think you should have an open mind about whatever payment option you have for a car, and they all do have their benefits as long with their negatives. Renting obviously can be great if you're going abroad and you want to sort of rent a car for a week or 2 on holiday. It makes sense, and it's not throwing your money away. You're getting a value, you're getting a car, you're able to do the things you want to do, and you can enjoy it. Now, in the Golf R world, I had a little check, and you can actually rent a Mark 8 Golf R. Now, I checked it out, and you can do it for about 3 months for a rent. I'll try and put it on screen if I can find it again. And it was about £700 a month. Now, you might be thinking, Sam, that is ridiculous, and it's too high, and it's stupid. But hear me out on this one of some of the positives of it. Okay, you're spending the best part of £2,000, slightly over, for only 3 months ownership. But the plus side is, these cars, the Mark 8 Golf R, are actually quite hard to get hold of. There's lots of delays. It's summer. Well, it's supposed to be summer here in the UK at the moment. We're just heading into July tomorrow, just at the end of June now. And people want to enjoy their cars now. And most people get most of their enjoyment within the first 3 months. And after that, it just becomes a regular familiarity to most people, and they kind of get bored and tired of it and kind of want to move on anyway. Now, there are lots of benefits to this in the sense that you know the costs that you're paying each month. You know that you're going to get rid of the car after a certain period of time. You know you can enjoy the car for a period of time, and you know you don't have to really worry about servicing, tyres, any sort of real wear and tear. Obviously, you've got to make sure the car is in good condition when you give it back. But there's less to worry about. And if you consider, particularly on a brand new side of things, if you're buying a brand new Mark 8 Golf R, and I've done videos of the car potentially costing upwards of £50,000, you are likely to lose quite a few £1,000s straight away just because of the usual depreciation of new cars. So it's not necessarily as stupid as you might think, renting. So I do think there's positives to it. Obviously, negatives, it is quite high. It is a lot of money to pay. It is going to be more for just a bit of fun or for a specific activity or specific reason. That's why I mentioned the whole, when you go abroad and use like Enterprise, for example, in the UK, it can kind of make sense. But it can also make sense if you're doing a bit of a road trip and you've got a few things scheduled and that's the car that you want to do. It can make sense if you get a nice term signed up, etc, etc. I think there are benefits to it, and it shouldn't be ignored. So that's one of the options I wanted to say. And again, please let me know in your comments which one you've done, which one you would prefer to do. Although I'm speaking about the Golf R because it's quite a car that I talk a lot about on the channel, it can be used obviously for all cars. So that's where it's all about. Get involved in the comments. That's what this community channel is all about. Now, the next option is leasing. Now, leasing I think is going to be becoming more prevalent as years go on. Basically, the next sort of 5-10 years, when we're more going into electric, I think leasing is going to be the main thing, particularly with the unpredictability of batteries. I don't know about you, but a combustion engine car, I'm pretty safe and secure in terms of the costs of that. To me, basically, I know where it's at. With electric, it's still new, it's still fresh, it's early adoption phase. I think leasing could make a lot more sense in that regard in many years to come. Now, with leasing, again, you get sort of similar fixed monthly payment. You know what you're paying, and you have like a year, 2-year term or whatever it is. It's generally for a new car again, so some of the benefits which I've mentioned for the renting side of things can be sort of taken away to leasing. You're getting a brand new car, a car which is likely to lose money anyway, so you may as well kind of lease it. You can kind of get deals kind of included where, like, because it's not yours, they'll pay for servicing, tires, those kind of things as part of a package if you get that right deal. And leasing was actually a thing that was huge in the Golf R, and that's why you see so many of them. In 2014 in the UK, You know, you could get it for less than £300 a month with literally like no deposit. And it's no surprise that for a 300 brake horsepower four-wheel drive car, a lot of people went for them. And leasing can make sense. I mean, it's a no-brainer at that sort of price. And like I said, I think it's something that's going to be used quite a lot in the future. Downsides are you don't get the car when you finish your term, unless you can somehow find it, sort of like looking and hunting around for whoever you've given it back to. Yeah, fundamentally it's not yours. You're just paying for something and that's it. I know you can kind of increase the term sometimes during it, but it's all, you know, it's their car, it's someone else's car. You're literally just leasing it, as the name kind of suggests. So that's another option as well. And let me know which one you think is the best as well. I mean, it's hard to say because every single option is specific for a specific person. Every single individual is different. There is no wrong or right answer in any of these. It just depends on your circumstances. That's kind of why I'm sharing it. But let me know your thoughts on which one you prefer and why. I think it'll give a lot of insight to a lot of people on this channel. So please do that. And thank you so much for commenting in advance. The next option is the most common one, which is finance or PCP, where you put down a deposit, you pay monthly, you have a little bit of interest on it as well. But at the end of the agreement, you have quite a few options. You own the car at the end of it, or you could just give it back to them if you want. And generally with sort of finance PCP, the interest rate is quite low for new cars. So it does enable you to get into new cars a little bit better. Although it can work for used cars, you just have a little bit of a higher interest rate. But then that's kind of negated by the fact used cars aren't going to lose as much money. That is the most common one, and something that I used sparingly on my Fiesta ST, simply because although I had the money to sort of buy the car outright, the rate was so low, it was almost a no-brainer to just sort of hedge my bets, put sort of in the £6,500, pay 160 a month over 2 years, and then pay a final deposit. It just gave me a little bit more flexibility. That's why a lot of people go for it. It enables you to get into a car if you couldn't quite afford it, although I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. But it enables you to do more with your money. At the end of the day, money makes money. So, you know, you've got to mix things up. You can't put all your eggs in one basket. And that's why people use it quite a lot. It's not something that should just be completely ignored, because there are some negatives, which I'm going to talk about. It can work really well for a lot of people. The negatives to this is obviously, yes, you are going to have an interest rate, so you are going to be paying more than the car is worth. That car is still going to lose money, so it's an asset which you own. If it loses money, you get the hit for that. Obviously, it works both ways, because if the car did go up in value, you know, at the moment we're seeing some crazy things in the car market. Please follow my series on why everyone's selling their Golf R. You get the benefit from that as well. So it works both ways, but it can give you a bit of a false sense of security that you can get into a car that you can't otherwise afford, which is always a little bit of a dangerous game. And that's something which I've always kind of been very wary of, and I've never really used it as my preferred route from my side. The final option, again, probably a route that people just don't use at all, and is something that I use, is actually buying your car outright in cash. Now, for me, there are quite a lot of benefits to this, but I'm going to start with the negatives. The negatives are you are putting all of your hard-earned money into a specific asset, a specific car, like a Golf R. It's the second most expensive thing you're ever going to buy, and to tie up a lot of money into that does have its own risks. You know, it doesn't give you as much flexibility in terms of what you can do with your money. It's all trapped in the car, if that makes sense. Cars are also depreciating assets, so in general, so you are likely to lose quite a lot of your money in the ownership period. Now, positives for me, and I feel there are quite a lot of positives actually. For me, I've always liked having control over what I own and what I do. And for me, being a car enthusiast, I love a car. I see things for the long term, and that's how I work things. And I think the longer you have something, the more something like buying in cash can make a little bit more sense. Now, I've been able, potentially I can benefit a little bit more from when the market does go a bit weird, where my car has gone up in value because the demand is so high for used cars right now in the UK, and because of obviously all the demand issues. Again, please check out that playlist in the link above. And it gives me the flexibility to kind of just get out of a car whenever I can. You know, a house is the most expensive thing you're ever going to own. A house, flat, apartment, whatever it is. You know how difficult the selling process is, let alone the buying process is, all the fees kind of involved. It's not a straightforward cut and shut day, 2 days, week process. It takes a long time. With a car, again, something that you have a lot of your money in, you can fundamentally get rid of it in a day. Even if the price went down quite a lot, you'll still get a good proportion of the money that you've invested back whenever you need it. You know, it's always there for you. People need cars. That's always a good thing. You know, it's never going to fall off the cliff. Again, it helps if you're trying to be a little bit more savvy, if you're trying to get a used car where potentially the interest rates would be higher, if you're going to get it on finance, etc. You can get in a car at, say, 2 years old where it's lost a lot of its money, buy it in cash, sell it at 4 years. You're not going to lose too much money. And ultimately, I always think the value is in what it means to you. And I you know, this is a dream to kind of own this car. I'm not gonna lie, I pinch myself. It's absolutely fantastic. I may not be able to own it forever, but I've had such like a great 4-year ownership of the car. And by actually, funny enough, getting it at the right time, as you've seen from my videos, I can actually get out without losing that much money. You know, less than £5,000 over 4 years and 30,000 miles, I don't think is too bad personally. But it doesn't always work out that way. But with a Golf R, and this is why this is specifically kind of around the Golf R, I think it's a car for everyone. It's just absolutely perfect. Whether you go for a 3-door manual, you know, you could be a bit younger, although I advise you get a bit more experience first personally, but that's obviously up to you. You can go for a 5-door, you can go for the estate, you can have a family, you can get a DSG, it's economical. If you get like the 7-speed, you can easily get 40 mpg. 4-wheel drive, it's good in the wet, you know, it's under the radar, reliable engine. It's a brilliant car that can be done for everything, for so many different people. You can tune them, the engines are good for tuning. Again, that's obviously a bit of a positive of buying it outright. You know, you can't really modify a rented or a leased car really, although I'm sure people do. The car itself is strong, and I know people want Golfs. And it's as simple as that, and this is one of the best Golfs out there, and I'd probably say one of the best Golfs to date. The Mark 7 I think is better than the Mark 8 from my personal experience, albeit on the speed side it does kind of lack it. I think it's a fantastic car. But I wanted to share those 4 options. You know, I'm just a normal person, I just kind of wanted to go through it with you lot. You know, if you're looking to buy these cars, you know, how do you buy them? You know, what option do you go for? Let me know your thoughts in the comments to what you go for. It is a community channel. I'd love to know your thoughts in terms of what you do, and what you think is best or what you think doesn't work, and maybe you've seen something in a little bit of a different way and you'd like to share that too. There's no right or wrong answer. I think it's just to give people an open mind of what they can what options they kind of go through. I'm not trying to sell you any finance. I'm not trying to be that kind of person. You know, this isn't Mr. JWW or anything like that. I'm just a normal guy just trying to help out with some advice, and hopefully that's given you a little bit of an idea, and yeah, hopefully helped you out today. But thank you so much for watching. Like, share, subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you again for the next one. Cheers, guys.